So, question for you: are you considering leaving the USA? That's the subject of today's video, and if you're considering it, you're not alone. In fact, we have some data here I want to show you. Basically, young people are more likely to consider leaving or make plans to leave the USA than older people, which isn't necessarily surprising. When you're younger, you're more free and able to do said thing. Some of the reasons why people would leave the USA, top reasons would be I think cost of living is going to be lower abroad. Number two would be you're dissatisfied with the current political leadership. So basically, you just don't like Trump and Musk, which I can understand. And also, you desire a higher quality of life. So those are the top three reasons. The people who are most likely to want to leave the USA would be if you're in the LGBTQ community, which I completely understand. Trump and Musk constantly attack trans and other groups. My feeling on this stuff is I'm welcoming to everyone, and I feel very, very sorry that Trump must do this. These are, a very small segment of the population, and just Trump must look for scapegoats. I just leave it at that. And I'm sorry about that situation. I understand why you would want to leave. Completely understand. Women also are more likely to want to leave the USA. Again, this would be Trump and Musk. They're mostly concerned, that's Trump and Musk, about putting men in power, focusing on men's stuff, and women are kind of pushed aside. So more women are more likely to leave, and then people of color are more likely to want to leave the USA. So I think you guys kind of know this stuff inherently, but I just want to show you some data on that. Some of the stuff that the Musk and Trump people are up to. I guess these days we're talking about renaming the District of Columbia to District of America. Yes, that's a real thing. She said it in a joke. That's the Boebert person, but Trump already renamed Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. So I guess why not District of America? So there's that. And I didn't even know about this one. I just saw this today. There's a representative out of Texas. So this is Brandon Gill. And he's, I guess, proposing a bill that we're doing it. It's the Golden Age Act. And we're going to do a $100 bill with President Trump on it. So that's what's up. And essentially, a lot of people don't want to participate in that stuff. This is another headline just came out. 3 Yale professors are leaving for Canada. They all blame President Donald Trump, which makes sense. Effectively, I think it was one professor wrote a book about fascism. It says 3 Yale professors are taking off to Canada as President Donald Trump administration cracks down harder on American higher education. Yale philosophy professor Jason Stanley, who has written multiple books about fascism, including How Fascism Works, he basically wrote an op-ed in the Guardian, and effectively someone who really understands what Trump is up to is like, I'm getting out, I'm going to Canada. He's not alone, and in fact, there's a lot of people thinking on doing said things. I want to mention this because sometimes people don't realize that the world abroad is very, very different than the USA, and in good ways. So for example, in Paris, this was a really interesting one that caught my attention. It says, this European capital has voted to ban cars from 500 streets. So if anyone in the community lives in Paris, I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts on this one. My wife and I have been there. It's a fantastic place, and now it's even going to be more walkable, in my opinion, is really cool. Walkable, public transit, this kind of stuff. Now, these are all the kind of things that Elon Musk hates. He wants everyone in America to, drive like a bunch of his cars, wants everyone in America to have a whole bunch of his robots. And it's just wasteful. Like, there's something really, really good about designing cities that are bicycle friendly, pedestrian friendly, etc. I know that in Holland, I think, or Netherlands, how you want to say it, I think they're really, really bike friendly as well. Amsterdam is one of the great cities for bikes. I'm sure there are others as well. I'd like to hear from friends in Europe. And I'm curious in Canada, if there are cities that you think are really, really bike friendly. I don't know. I'm not a Canadian, but I just like to hear some opinion on that. The reason why I'm just mentioning this stuff is because things can be different. Is just you have to introduce ideas to people and say, hey, what if we have a place where there's lots of parks and stuff like that? When I lived in the USA, so I grew up in Portland, you guys may not know. So I've been to Seattle quite a bit, these kind of places. And Portland, Seattle, they have a lot of libraries, a lot of bookstores, and a lot of parks. Like, it's a certain kind of culture. Minnesota is another sort of state like that, and various places around the USA. So I want to say and make it clear, you don't necessarily have to leave the country to be in a situation that may be more comfortable. Sometimes just going to another state in the USA will feel like a different country, to be perfectly frank. I write about this stuff in my book. It's called Positive Angle, and these issues really affect me because I think it's important for people to find a place where you feel comfortable and safe. On top of that, this is just what's going on. Unfortunately, things are bad in the Trump administration. You guys know. Headline here, it says top FDA vaccine official resigns, citing Kennedy's misinformation and lies. So basically, we're less safe in the USA. This was how the letter was written. It said here, Dear Dr. Brenners, this is from Peter Marks. It is with a heavy heart that I have decided to resign from the FDA and retire from federal service as director of Center for Biologics and Evaluation and Research, effective April 5th, 2025. So happening soon. And this was the quote here. It has become clear that the truth and transparency are not desired by the secretary, referring to RFK, which was Trump's pick. What is this? The Health and Human Services, I think. But rather he wishes subservient confirmation of his misinformation and lies. This man doesn't care about the truth. He cares about what is making him followers. And those lines right there, I think, sting, especially for Trump people, because you could say that about a lot about Trump people, right? They don't care about truth at all. They just care about collecting those followers or whatever. On top of that, the USA is facing a measles outbreak. It keeps getting worse. I mentioned this a few times on the channel. I'm checking in again. Texas now reporting 400 measles cases as some kids get sick from too much vitamin A. Basically what you got going on, you got parents who don't believe in vaccines, and then they're like, I don't know where they're getting it from, but they think giving their kid a whole bunch of vitamin A is, I guess, a replacement for an MMR shot. Too much vitamin A, you get sick. I didn't even know. I didn't know that. I didn't know people were saying, hey, give kid vitamin A. And the other one, I didn't know you could take too much of it. And point being, go see a doctor. Go see a doctor. I don't know what to say. And this is just, unfortunately, we have a culture in USA that is anti-education and anti-healthcare, and they don't trust anyone. And that's where we're at. Nearly 500 confirmed cases of measles across 19 states. The numbers keep getting worse, and they're saying that since the way things are reported, these are old numbers, so it's likely much higher than this. But just to give you a general sense, I wouldn't be shocked if by the end of summer it would be in more states. But we'll see. Hopefully, and this is my opinion on this stuff, you raise more awareness and get these things under control. The other issue as well, which I just want to mention, because sometimes people ask me about why did I leave USA, etc. So yes, the Trump and Musk stuff, I frankly don't like it, as you guys know, and I think any reasonable person knows that they're crazy. But like I said before, you don't necessarily have to leave the country. You can leave and just go to a different state or a different city. You'll feel more comfortable. My wife is Korean. We have to take care of her parents, so that's a big part of it. Another part is just life is more comfortable in terms of there's less crime here, food is better, and there's more healthy lifestyles. You don't have to have a car. You can just take subway around. You can walk. You can bike. We also live by the ocean, etc. So the violence one, though, is a big one for me. So, like, for example, this is just today in the USA. 2 dead, 4 injured. This was in Washington. Then you had a shooting in Staten Island, New York. This is all today. 2 Virginia deputies hospitalized. There must have been some sort of shootout in 2 states. Wow. In Virginia. 1 killed in Fort Worth. So that would be Texas. Again, this is just, it was Thursday, but it's all like the last couple of days. Son and mom help dad move out of home. Then he shoots them dead. Connecticut cops say, what? I mean, this is USA. It's crazy. Then you got a shooting in Arlington, and then you have 2 in Raleigh, so that'd be North Carolina. So that's all this week, and then I'm sure there's some that I missed. One shooting, like in most developed countries, that would be like news for the year, effectively. I mean, the way, and this is some stats in that the violence in USA is just like through the roof. It's way higher than other countries, and this is per capita because it's not just the USA is bigger; it's just more access to weapons, to guns particularly, and more gun deaths. It's pretty obvious. On top of that, unfortunately for the USA, 75% of US scientists who answered a Nature poll are considering leaving. So basically, they asked a lot of people, what do you think about USA? And these are educated, PhDs, these kind of things, and people want out. I'll read some of the details of this stuff, and it really just reflects the change in culture in USA and in the environment. The massive changes in U.S. research brought about by the new administration of President Donald Trump are causing many scientists in the country to rethink their lives and careers. More than 1,200 scientists who responded to the Nature poll 3/4 of the total response are considering leaving the United States following disruptions prompted by Trump. Europe and Canada were among the top choices for relocation. And there were some interesting quotes in this. One person said here, it says, many respondents were looking to move to countries where they already had collaborators, friends, family, or familiarity with the language. Quote, anywhere that supports science, one correspondent wrote. This was something else that says, this is my home. I really love my country, says a graduate student at the top U.S. university who works in plant genomics and agriculture. But a lot of my mentors have been telling me to get out right now. And I've actually heard this around to where at several universities, right, because you apply for research grants, these kind of things, the funding is tight. And or you may have, if you're at a university, you may have a job offer out to whatever applicants. You may really want some said person, but they're kind of on hold right now because you're not sure about the funding situation. One of the strengths and hallmarks of the USA for decades has been education, right? You attract the top talent, come to the USA, you contribute to the society, contribute to the world. Just pure scientific research has been a hallmark of USA, and it's a major power. Unfortunately, this Trump administration, they're against basic research, they're against science, they're against truth, and people who see what's going on are getting out of Dodge, which I completely understand. And not only that, if there's just let's say you disagree with Trump and Musk, because it happens, presidents change, it's come and go, fine. But when they cut your funding and you have no job, I mean, it's like, well, I don't like them, plus someone else is going to pay me more. Of course you're going to leave. And so what's going on right now is universities in Europe or Canada are offering positions and money, because money matters, you guys know this, to some of America's top people. Or you have foreign applicants from various countries all around the world. They come from all over. Or just like, I'm not going to USA, it's unsafe. It was just, I just saw it reported, I think it was New York Times, but it was everywhere. There was I think it was a Russian researcher that was detained. That's on top of the multiple ones we've talked about. Someone from Turkey. There was the one student that was actually, there's two from Turkey actually, I think, or no, one from Turkey, and then the other one, sorry, I just can't remember. I can't keep track. It's a lot. Because I was thinking about the Brown professor that was sent back, and she was from Lebanon, and then the student was from Turkey, and that she was a student at Tufts. I'm sorry, guys, it's just hard to keep track of these things. But multiple people are considering leaving. On top of that, there was a really interesting article. This was in the Wall Street Journal today. It says American women are giving up on marriage. This shows the shift and change of culture. So why are they giving up? Basically, they don't feel they can find suitable partners. This is what it says. It says, American women have never been this resigned to staying single. They are responding to major demographic shifts, including huge and growing gender gaps in economic and educational attainment, political affiliation, and beliefs of what family should look like. Effectively, what's going on is women have more education than men. And so when they're looking for a partner, there's less men that they want to be with, essentially. So an educated woman doesn't necessarily want to be with, just be nice about it, just doesn't want to be with someone who's uneducated. It's kind of opposite for men. Some men are fine with taking women who have less education. That's an okay thing for a guy. But women, maybe not so much. Also, politically is different as well, which is kind of an interesting one. Women tend to be more liberal. Men tend to be more conservative. And I was actually thinking about this, and liberal and conservative have different meanings around the world. I want to make that clear. I know in USA it has a certain meaning, but around the world it's different. But I was thinking about this when I was reading through this stuff. I was thinking about, so, let's go back, centuries or however you want to look at it. And, maybe in the past, the only jobs, were working in a field, or maybe you're fighting as a gladiator, or, some sort of physical work. And you have the situation where men can excel, right? If you see what I'm saying. As you go through modernity, and the more important things is like your mind, right? Developing your skills that way, then the need for physical labor is different. It's just different. We have automation and things are different. And so then men's like inherent sort of physical, bigness, or you want to call it, or prowess, or just, athletic nature, is less important. Whereas, your mental ability is much more important. And so women are much more easier to catch up. On top of that, women have less children these days, especially in modern or developed, I should say developed countries, not modern is not the right word, we'll say developed countries. And so you're out of, if you have like say 10 kids, just for example, you would be out of the workforce or unable to work. So you just have so many kids, opposed to say you have one kid, none kid, or, however you want to put it. You can have your kid only leave the work, for say a year or something like that, and then come back to work. And so you don't have to sacrifice your career for that. There's a lot of, and it's a long discussion on the women situation, but point being though is that, the culture has changed. And what you're seeing in the USA, when you put all this stuff together, the Trump and Musk people sort of capture that audience that, wants to go back to where men rule the roost and all the men work in the factories and the women stay at home and the women, just do the cooking and they wear the makeup and, wear heels in the house or whatever. Like it's basically like a 1950s, show, TV show that is, I guess Leave It to Beaver or whatever those older shows were. I can't think of the names right offhand, but I know what I'm talking about. It's when the guy comes home and he had a whatever busy day at the office or whatever, takes off his hat and says, "Honey, I'm home," and the wife's got this apron and dress and got this full Thanksgiving dinner like every night and like that kind of stuff. They live in the suburbs, but that world doesn't exist anymore for a variety of reasons. Be it automation, be it competition from around the world, be it we don't need so many workers, and the nature of work has changed, right? Also, the access to education has improved, so more people can go. The world is a different place. Where remember Musk and Trump want to take it back to say 1940s USA or 1930s or whatever you want to say, a time when not everyone had access to university and not everyone could get an education or reach upper levels of management. They want to go back to that era, make it to the old boys club, but things have changed and the demographics of the USA have changed. So some people are okay with change and some people not. For me, it's just what it is. It's like the weather, I can't control the weather. It just happens. And things change over time. And instead of trying to fight the weather, I just adjust to it, right? So a simple example would be, if it's hot outside, I'm gonna wear sunscreen. I'm gonna wear sunglasses. If it's cold outside, I'm gonna put on a coat. and that's sort of how you have to think about the world. And it's kind of like the sort of stuff I talk about in my book. So anyway, just wanted to share these thoughts with you, and I want to hear yours. Are you thinking about leaving the USA? And what do you think about some of these cultural changes happening? Are you okay with it, or are you just like really mad, or are you really happy? Some people might be. I think it's a good discussion. So thank you for your time, and I'll catch you on the next video.